Today we have a chance to sit down with Michael Toma, a $3 million fund manager trading for a pretty big fund. And he's managing money, trading, of course, actively every single day. So we want to share some tips with you today on how to pass your next platform challenge, things you can do to kind of put the odds in your favor at least. Because a lot of people fail challenges. I think it's 81% or more than that sometimes fail the platform challenge. There's something you can do for it for sure. We don't want to cover the obvious, like they all follow your trading plan, like take the right trades. That stuff is boring. So we'll have some cool tips for you today that are different and that are useful for you, things you've probably never heard before. So Michael, we can dive right in if you want to. You want to give me a bit of background about what you trade and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I mostly trade ES futures. I dabble in Forex a little bit. Mostly I'll trade the FX futures, like the Japanese yen, things like that, as opposed to the pair itself. It's all the same thing. It's pretty much the same chart. And as well as the fund as well, the outside capital accounts. But and also sell options premium, which is sort of a niche market that just adds a supplemental income to the core strategies, future strategies that I pretty much do.
Perfect. And you've been trading on a fund for how long?
6 years, 7 years. I do the oversight too. So it's not just about trading the fund. We have traders on staff. It's really about oversight, making sure the risk management's in place, very important. Making sure that the core principles of the structure is really within compliance of what the investors are looking for. This is really important back office stuff, but really important that the traders itself also are compliant with what we're allowed to do.
Nice stuff. If you want to pass the platform challenge, you got to learn from a fund manager. It's the best way to do it because he has the knowledge to do it. And also doing it professionally. It's not just like someone who passed it because they were lucky, someone who did it for many, many years and have the skills to pass the next platform challenge. So, Michael, let's kind of start. What's the first way people can increase their odds of passing a challenge?
Well, I think the first thing too, and this is what when we look for trader stuff, is it's a job. I mean, this is a job that requires a skill set and execution of a plan. As simple as that. Quite honestly, I mean, if you're not an expert in Fibonacci, I don't care about it. Or do you have the ability to execute a plan? So the first thing is the job description itself. Just like you apply for a job in the corporate world. You have a job description, most of the things hopefully you can do, and it's these bullets like that. It's really looking at that, not looking at money, not looking about trading per se. Here's the job. Here's really the job of execution and following rules. If you can do that, that's really 80% of this job description.
There's a way platform traders, something like find strategies or something like improve, like find new pairs to trade and stuff. That's kind of part of it on the off time when you're not trading the market. But when you're trading, it's actually just to kind of follow the plan.
It's really, this job is really a bunch of if-then statements. If this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. And really, it's about keeping, strategies, our strategy, pretty simple in a sense. The challenge is, obviously, can you do that? A lot of things come into play. But really, it's not about money. It's not about this. It's about executing this job description, which involves really just being focused, being fit, and really being ready.
I was seeing more and more that traders kind of treat the platform game like a casino. Like, oh, I'm going to put some money. It's like $100 for the challenge. I'll take it. Then how about pass it? Yeah. It's like a casino, like an entertainment thing where it's like the fun is there that you hope to pass it and you actually see like take trades, force things to try to pass it. I know you have some passion against this because you know it's not how it works, but tell us more about what you think of this.
Well, sure. I mean, the gamification of trading is really, actually from a coaching standpoint, is really getting quite concerning. I mean, the 1 minute chart is now the new 15-minute chart. Like what happened to like patience and discipline and things? It's quite concerning, and a lot of these challenge takers, they look at it as like throwing $100 bet at the wall and stuff. Yeah. And quite honestly, sometimes scary is when they actually pass the first stage, and now they really have a problem on their hands. But it's really about execution, sticking to the plan, discipline. If you want to fire bullets and have it, that's great. But honestly, go to the racetrack, casino, or the arcade. But this really weeds out the pros from the non-pros, and we want everyone to kind of stick to the pro side. And the gamification part has to stop. It challenges us as coaches to try and manage that, this quickness, this fast action type stuff. Trading really, newsflash, it's kind of boring actually when it gets to be successful. So, and that's being patient, longer term time frames. Stay away from these 1 minute charts.
A lot of people talk against the platform because they have like these time limits sometimes. They mostly drop it recently, or they have like this fee to come in to sign up for, and they have this and that to kind of rule out some traders. And they don't understand that they do this because they want to kind of put away the gamblers.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you think about the model, and again, it's the model's questionable in a lot of cases and stuff, but really, they actually have a model where it could be very dangerous to them if everyone just follows the rules.
Yeah.
they're in a bind. They're going to have to go get outside capital. But I think the math says that a lot of the people aren't going to follow the rules. They're going to, look at it like a casino game and do it. But you're watching, you're different, right? You could take advantage of this. They're leaving an opportunity that really you could take advantage of. But again, having a process, things like that, stick away from the gambling.
What do you think when someone not follow the rules? Like when they have a plan that's good, when they have like let's say you give it to them, you're giving them a plan. They know what to do already. They have the rules with them. They have the checklist. What makes them not follow that plan?
I think it's a good question, actually. I think, and what we learned on, at least on the psychological, we've done, interviews and talked to Randy Howell, Dr. Menaker. This business doesn't really have a boss. And I think people bring the freedom that comes with that beautiful element of our business and thinks they can just go crazy. The best traders have to think like there's a risk manager right behind them. And quite honestly, when you get funded, you are going to have a risk manager right behind you. Chances are it might be me. So, you have to be careful of everything you do, and really they're looking to execute a plan. But I think when we bring over, you come from like a corporate background and have these rules, like tedious sets of discipline, then you come to the trading world. That doesn't mean those core framework and discipline doesn't exist. But I think sometimes the traders just think it's like, a wild west, and they can succeed that way. And clearly the numbers show that they don't.
And I would say it's also a bit of expectations. People feel like if they're not making money this week right now, then they're missing out or they're losing. So they look for strategies or other things like to diversify. They look for there were swing traders and they look for day traders to get more trades.
Yeah.
Then they kind of like make a spiral of like losing and trying different things.
Yeah, and they just start throwing different things. And we've noticed when people take challenges, when they deviate from the original plan, even if in the beginning stages the plan wasn't working or just the results weren't there, when they switch and deviate, there's like virtually a zero success rate. I mean, Tiger Woods, every first day of the Masters and all the ones he's won, he had horrible first days. Did he just quit or like get a bigger club and add size and just change his game? No, he just stuck with his process and just kind of let it play out. Five Masters champion, Tiger Woods. So he really didn't deviate from it. Same thing with trading. The order of the P&L, follow that process. And, the remnant is going to, you may be up, you may be down, but the goal is to eventually, cross the finish line to be challenged. That's, follow really the Tiger Woods theory of success. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't deviate. The other thing we found too is, when maybe traders hop and try different strategies, but they also feel they can take a challenge with all these different kind of markets, all these different kind of strategies. We have found that the best advice is be a specialist at one, maybe two things, one or two markets, maybe one strategy, and put all your focus and energy on that. We have found that the success rate goes up exponentially. Right? We start having all these things and like this pool of things. It just the numbers just sort of mesh out, and they really don't get the cross the finish line really in time.
It's a good point. People either kind of try to increase that while they're challenged, which is a bad decision, of course, when you don't have enough trades. I think the time pressure added a lot to that too.
Yeah.
But it's also the fact that they want to be able to get results faster. They want to be able to make money. They want the results faster than they think they can have that.
Yeah, think about it. I mean, if you could find, if you have a strategy that has an expected value, a positive expected value, and it's one little thing that has that value, just manipulate, just relentlessly pound on that. That's all you have to do. Quite honestly, we don't have like tons of strategies. No. I mean, 80% of my trades are just based on 3 strategies, and it depends on market conditions. But we have that one little like sort of niche and edge. Just manipulate that. Don't spread it all a bunch of different markets and this and different strategies, especially in the challenge. Focus is so important to success.
And if you guys doesn't happen to often do it, it's fun. It's no big deal. You can wait for the right trades and do something else in the meantime. Yeah. We had a discussion this morning, and you told me about something that I found pretty interesting. You heard from different trader psychologists. You explained this as being able to respect the market. Then we think about respecting the market. And how does it play out?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to Dr. Andrew Menaker, we did a lot of work with too, and even Dr. Randy Howell talked about like this respect for authority, respecting like police officers and firemen and stuff, and really talked about the market being respecting a big piece of authority. So when you're losing or having some bad runs and you start throwing like bigger size and things like that. First of all, that's a recipe for ruin. But you have to respect the fact that, and this is like an analogy, the market is really accommodative to our business. We need that market to move and do it. And it kind of provides these little crumbs, and you could pick little crumbs, but when you challenge like this big monster called the market, it will crush you, absolutely crush you. So, but it's very accommodative, the little crumbs. And by the way, those little crumbs can create a whole lifestyle that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So really don't approach the market like, try to combat it or beat the market. We hear that all the time. Like, I haven't beat the market. No, you don't. Market's very accommodating. Just grab the little crumbs next to those big monster paws that it has, and everyone will be fine.
People who are happy about like crushing it or being able to make it happen and stuff and cash the pips. You hear this a lot, which I find so stupid. These are people who have issues with trading because they like always try to grab and push and like push their size in, push their trades in to catch them over the market. And if you kind of go with that attitude of like being perseverant, it could be good, but in general, it's hurting you a lot in the market because the market will just kind of bring you tough times sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes, I've done it where you push it a little bit. Market lets you know who's boss, who's boss. And the thing that we'll follow up on this too is like sometimes, the number thing, you're not going to work out. You're not going to pass the challenge. Or maybe you did okay and it didn't work out. Or maybe it's just a total epic fail. Really, what we like to see in the success rate is, what did you learn from the experience? Especially that first challenge. You have a new platform. Maybe you're a little nervous. I mean, I was nervous the first time I even got involved in outside capital. Like, wow, I didn't want to do the wrong things. It just didn't happen. But what did you learn from the process? Think about taking that challenge as building your resume and building your strength for down the road, that little challenge that maybe you just didn't pass, right? You're going to be laughing at that at the happy hours come down the road, right? But look at that, take advantage of the lessons and information that you learn. That's the key, as opposed to just getting ticked off and just throwing money at. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, one thing that we talk a lot about together is like trying to see how people think bigger, because a lot of people think small, like the profit is the end game. I'm going to get 100,000 and I'll be successful forever. There's a lot of stuff beyond that. Like, that's not the end game. That cannot be the end game for anyone. The end game should be that even profit. It should be beyond that too.
Yeah. I mean, think about when you take these challenges. I mean, if you can execute the plan properly, it's a $10,000, and you can do that and you pass the challenge, you have 10,000 and you're continuing showing you're disciplined and you have a good track record. Don't you think other firms are going to be interested in you, right? Maybe increasing your amount that you manage, but maybe outside capital would be something. You show that. And this is not just a challenge anymore. This is your building of your resume for a career. And when we look at that, we review some of these things, I go, we're already thinking, there's a place for this trader. And maybe it's not in the prop world. Maybe it's outside capital, funds, things like that. But learn from their mistakes, do that. Don't just look at it as like tossing it as a casino. Here's another 100, let's take another challenge.
Good point. Tell me more though, because there's going to be a point where people will either, not because they're bad traders, but they will either lose a challenge or they will lose the account that they've got from the challenge. How do you kind of use that best to become better?
I mean, a lot of this is really business success. What do the top business guys do? Learn from their mistakes, evaluate, assess, and maybe they can't do that on their own. Maybe they need a coach or someone to guide them, to identify. And this game of success is not about more winning trades. It's not about big home runs. It's not about, I just grabbed 50 points off of Tesla. It's about eliminating those little mistakes. Doing the same thing over and over again, just eliminating those little mistakes. And next time, you're not going to make that mistake again. You'll build better. And then the next time, you're not going to make that other mistake. That's how you build careers in trading, not from trying to find the next holy grail. Just stop eliminating making those mistakes. And the first steps into doing that is identifying what the mistakes were. Then take it from there.
What do you think are the common mistakes people make when they fail at the challenge or when they actually pass or then blow up the account?
Yeah, well, first thing is not taking an assessment. Taking a step back and say, before you start taking the next challenge on that Monday, say, okay, what can I do to improve? What was the thing I did right and what are the things I did wrong? And again, start that process of identification. Once you identify some of those things, you are on the right path. And also, kind of check your ego in at the door and say, okay, I made these mistakes first time. We've all done that. So it's part of the success process when you think about it. If you were flawless, you need to check your pulse, or maybe should be in like bioscience or something, saving, lives. It's get eliminated. So take a step back, take your ego back and say, okay, it's fine. It's part of the success process. Let me do this right. What are the little things, like I mentioned earlier, can you do wrong? But don't get pissed off, really. And the most important thing is don't go run and take another re-challenge or something like that.
That's true.
Yeah, take a step back. Remember, think of the long-term process. The $10,000 challenge or $20,000 challenge, down the road, if you do the right things, there's going to be a few more zeros at the end of those numbers. So embrace it, learn, and again, business success. Take a step by step, focus, get ready for the next step.
Where can they go if they want to learn more about how to pass the next challenge and how to actually build the skills, the mindset, and the strategy of a profitable platform trader? Where can they learn more about that?
Well, I mean, self-serving, we're here to help and provide a coaching element that we feel is a little bit different than really what's out there. It's really a big focus on risk management, discipline, and overcoming some of the psychological hurdles as opposed to, go knock it out with this new hot strategy or something. But really, you could even do things, but again, if you want to self-educate and do self-assessments and you want to get a trading partner. Let them, they look at your work in a different lens, right? Do some research. We have a really good library, even online, with a lot of the trader psychologists. A lot of these challenges aren't about the strategy itself. It's about you. It's about looking in the mirror. So become a better you. You can do that on your own. So that's a good way to get started. And always remember that try not to do it alone, whether it's a coach, partner, even a spouse, let them be involved and accountable in your journey.
If your goal is to reach a 6 or 7 figure account with prop firms, Michael has a course to help. We partner on this together. We have a course on how to build the right mindset, the right skills, the right strategies for getting funded by prop firms, scaling up your own account. And you can take this to big levels over time. Immediately a big jump. We'll leave the link below for this. You can check it out. Any other word, Michael, this program, how they can learn more from you?
The step in the biggest journey starts with action. And, we wish you all the best for those thinking about that need funding or feel that's a part of their journey that needs to. So, take the action, get started, and we're happy to help if you choose this.
All right. Thank you guys for being here as always. We'll catch you back in the next video. Ciao.